Okay, what I'm going to do now, the first thing I'm going to sew is the zip border. Which way I normally do this is I fold it over just over a quarter of an inch, put it level with the zip itself, teeth, and allow a few inches over of the zip. What I'm going to do is basically make the back end of this parallel to the edge of the zip. Do a stitch and then a back stitch, which will lock it in place. And then just work your way along the zip. There's other ways that you can do this by sewing it and then sewing over it again, but this is the way I prefer to do it. It's quick and it's neat. Just always keep checking the back and it's level. Every few inches. We're coming towards the end. When you're coming towards the end, make sure you do your back stitch again to lock it in place. Cut your thread. And now you have the first part of your zip done. What you're going to do is the second side you're going to turn the zip around and do exactly the same thing. Okay, so now I have both sides on the zip. Next, put a glide on. And the way that I do this is split the zip a little bit, like so, and cut at an angle. One side of the zip, so your zip should be like that. And that should make it easy enough to put your glide on. Should be. And feed the other side of your glide on, and that's your glide on the zip. Now what you want to do is lock the stitch on both ends so the glide can't come off. Just a couple of forward and back stitches. And then cut off your surplus of your zip. So this is that border, your zip border, complete. And set that aside. And the next thing is your front border that we cut earlier, which should have 3 pieces. Okay, so you have it marked which is top. So we're wanting to keep all the pile running in the same direction. So again, take a 1/2 inch seam, do your lock stitch, same on the other side. And the reason you're wanting to keep your top to top where you have marked is so that there's no shading, especially like on some velvets and dried-ons that you can see that. So now we have these panels complete as well. So we can set that aside. Next is your pipings. What I tend to do when I'm sewing a piping is I sew them at an angle, like an L shape, and then sew on a diagonal line with your lock stitch again, and this way when it's sewn like this, when you're folding it over like that, you're getting less stitching or less fabric to go over, so it's not so thick. And same again for the last piece of piping, because we'll have 3 pieces of piping, which should be sufficient to complete our pipe cushioning. Okay, and also trim a bit of the salvage off that on your seams. Now another thing you'll need to have is a piping foot for your machine. So this is a flat foot I've got in this machine, so now I'm going to have to change that one for a piping foot. Make sure you switch your machine off so you're not going to have any problems. It's not going to start off or run off on its own and get your finger. As you can see, that foot is a flat foot. And there are several different sizes also of piping feet. This is a 1/4 inch, which one I'm going to use. And if you can see a bit of difference, it has a channel in here, and that's for your piping to go along. Also, I'll need to remove this piece as well, because there's a channel on the part that the needle goes through, so I'll remove that right now. Okay, and now we've got our piping cord, which is a good quality piping cord, which can be used for washable. You can buy the paper piping cord, which is cheaper, and if that's put in a, say for example, a loose cover and is put through a clean, the paper will become soggy and unravel. So you're better off buying the quality one, which also comes in different sizes. So now we wrap our fabric around the piping, lay down your foot, and we'll want to run this the whole way through the machine. As you can see, we're getting our piping now, so I'll pause that while I run through the whole piping. Okay, now I have my piping. The next step is to sew the piping onto your panels. I'm doing this on 3 sides, some people go on the back as well, all 4 sides. So line your salvages up with the piping and with your panel. Don't forget your lock stitch. Line up and even the whole way along. When you're getting to the corners, around the bend or whatever, it helps if you cut little nicks. Be careful not to cut right through the piping cord. Just take it nice and slow. And you'll be wanting to do this for both of your panels. give it the odd rub to rub out any excess and keep it all nice and straight. Again, if you're doing this in a striped fabric, you're going to need to match your piping at the front. Coming up the corner again, so if you nix and that will let it go around the corner. Just bit by bit. Let the machine do the work, don't force, don't pull. And also make sure your machine is snag free, it's clean and well oiled. Keep it in good working order, make sure there's nothing that's going to snag on it, catch on it, because it can be dangerous. And keep your fingers away from the needles as well. Once again, your lock stitch. Trim off your piping. And that's your first panel with your 1/2 inch seam around it. So what you want to do now is do your other panel exactly the same. Okay, now we've got your 2 panels done. What we want to do is those nicks that we made earlier on the panels, line those up and kind of feed it along, working its way around. So you're kind of, by the time you get back around here, those nicks should be lined up. Bring that close to the bottom. Now we're going to allow the zip to go a little bit round the corner, so we'll start a few inches up on this. This time, little lock stitch, and again, now we're keeping the edge of the piping flush with the edge of your border. Again, just take your time and take care going around the edges and curves. Just try and keep the 2 materials flat to each other and true. And the next stage, this will be putting on the zip border and joining it to your side border. Coming towards the end of your top panel. So a little lock stitch again. And now we'll have our panel. This is our first panel sewn on with the border. So once we put the zip border on the back, join it up to the side border, then we're free to put the bottom panel on it. Okay, so I'll start the zip border. Another thing to bear in mind is some fabrics you'll need to use an overlocker, and the reason for that being if the fabric frays, that'll lock it in place, because if you don't, it'll fray and your stitching will come through. Now I've made nicks in that back zip panel, same as what we've done before, and now we're going to line that up with the nick on the back of our top panel. Now I'm going to sew a seam, half-inch seam, lock stitch, again keeping it even with the lines. Come to the corner, turn it around, corner, and a lock stitch. Now we're going to have to join these together. So we're going to lay it flat, and we're going to need to be taking a half-inch seam in this also. So make a little nick with your scissors, and if you're folding that flat and keeping it level, should be able to do a straight cut. Now we want to join these zip border and your side border together. Again, half-inch seam, double stitch over the teeth of your zip. It's just a matter of finishing off that seam. Sometimes you put a little nick, and that's easier to go through. Lock stitch. Now I'm going to do the same on the other side. Now we'll have our border joined. Okay, now we'll have our border sewn onto the panel and the zip border sewn on. It's just a matter of lining up those little notches that we made earlier. Line those centre to centre. Lock stitch, again, half-inch seam, and you'll really be wanting to follow the piping stitch when you put the piping on. It's just a matter of running the whole way around. Pause that and show show you the completed one finished. I'm just coming to the end here, back corner. Stop a ½ inch from the end. Lock stitch. And that's us complete. Double pipe cushion. Now pull the zip and turn the cushion the right way around. You have to check around your cushion, make sure there's no skips. Sometimes the machine can skip a thread, so you want to check it because you don't want to be filling the cushion and then finding out that you've got skips in it later on, so you're going to have to take it out again and refill it. And that